Dear students, today we will discuss Kushan and Satvahana period in the sequence of history of fashion India ancient. The Kushans established their empire in the 1st century AD and were contemporaneous with the Satvahana, Andhra, and western satraps, Sakas, kingdoms during part of the 2nd century AD. Contact was established with many parts of Western Asia and the Mediterranean by means of envoys. This naturally helped foreign trade, and the influx of foreigners, Kushans, Sakas, and Indo-Greeks, gave even more impetus to trade relations with these areas. The Buddhists represented there were dressed in the classical Greek and Roman garments, the chiton, ramation, stula, tunica, chlamys, etc. The ordinary dress consisted as usual of an antraya, uttariya and kaya band, with a turban for men. Kushan costumes may be divided into 5 types. The costume worn by indigenous people Antraya, Uttariya, and Kaya band. 2. Guardians and dependents of the harem, usually the indigenous and sewn kankuka, red-brown in color. 3. Foreign Kushan rulers and their entourage, and 4. Other foreigners such as grooms, traders, etc. There are 5th category, a mixture of foreign and indigenous garments. The Kushan, Indo-Scythian, dress had evolved from a nomad culture based on the use of the horse. Scythian and Iranian races and resembled particularly that of the Parthians. It consisted of a ruched long-sleeves tunic with a slit for the neck opening, simple or elaborately decorated. The close-fitting knee-length tunic was sometimes made of leather, and with it could be worn a short cloak or a calf-length woolen coat or kaftan, worn loose or crossed over from right to left and secured by a belt of leather or metal. Besides these 2 upper garments, occasionally a 3rd garment, the cha'a, was used. The cha'a was coat-like and decorated with a border down the chest and hemline, and had slits to facilitate movement. The trousers could be of linen, silk or muslin in summer but were woolen or quilted in winter. These loose or close-fitting trousers, chalana, were tucked into soft padded boots with leather trappings, kapusa. Along with this was worn the Scythian pointed cap of felt, bashilk, or peaked helmet or headband with 2 long ends tied at the back. The tunic, stan suka, is form-fitting with long sleeves, a simple round neckline, and flaring at the hemline. Besides the above-mentioned, the lehenga-style antraya and uttariya is sometimes worn. But very little in the way of elaborate jewelry is used. There are also some figures of women wearing close-fitting ruched trousers with a long-sleeved jacket and an uttariya. The pravara or chadar, a large shawl, continued to be worn by both sexes as protection against the cold, and it was known to have been perfumed with bakal, jasmine and other scents. In central India, textiles were of lightweight cotton, talipansi, Both indigenous and foreign skills were plentiful but still very expensive. Antaraya were very rarely decorated, and when they were, they appear to have been either embroidered, woven, or printed in diagonal check designs enclosing small circles. Turban cloth for rich women were often diagonally striped with every third line made of pearls. This bejeweled material was also used to cover beds and seats. Many other geometric patterns of checks, stripes and triangles were also printed and woven. It is only from literary sources that we know of the textiles and dyes available in the earlier period. In a list compiled of fabrics recovered from the ancient Silk Route, fabrics in the following color were found: bright blue, light blue, dark blue copper, dull gold buff, bronze brown, dark bronze green, crimson, pink, crimson brown, rich red, yellow, yellow brown, yellow green, rich dark yellow brown. Antaraya, worn extremely short in kaku style. The end that is passed between the legs has been tucked in at the back. The other piece is looped to mid-thigh in front and the end tucked in a small looped frill at the center. Kaya band. There are two. One is a wide sash tied in a loop on both sides to the knees with streamers at each side of the hips hanging to floor length. The other is Kakshayabanda, a thick jeweled roll worn aslant which has a large clasp at the left hip. Mekarla, 5-string pearl or jeweled hip belt. It holds the antaraya and cloth kayaband in place. Hara, necklace of pearls, probably strung on thread or wire and worn between the breasts. Kantha, short necklace of beads with central pendant and loop chains. Kiyura, simple armlets, of loop design in gold or silver velour, bracelets of two kinds. The central one consists of a series of rings like a wristband. On both sides are larger rigid bracelets, kandla, square earrings decorated with a flower motif and with pearls, suspended nupura, anklets, wide rings with an elaborate design, angaliya, finger rings of solid gold mukata, bejeweled crown on the head and a headband hairstyle, small symmetrical curls at the forehead, hair tied in a loop not projecting vertically at the back. Gagri, simple narrow calf-length skirt stitched at the center front border. It has either a drawstring through it or is rolled over a string. This is an example of the earliest form of a stitched lower garment for women. Kantha, short flat necklace with decorative design. Kiyura, armlets of same decorative design as for Kanthavalaya. Simple ring-type bangles. Kandla, simple ring-type earrings. She rests her pitcher on a headrest, probably of cane, like an inverted basket. Female guard. Gandhara, tunic, Kushan type with long ruched sleeves. Antaraya, Kudbek Halana Kushan, loose trousers. Kayaband, twisted sash. Hara, long necklet worn between the breasts. Velour, 3 bangles are visible on the right hand. Nupura, heavy ring type anklets. Hairstyle, hair at the front is divided into 3 portions. The central one is made into roll. The 2 at the side are combed downwards with tassels suspended. Anatraya, sari-like, worn in the cactus style. the other end being taken across the body and over the left shoulder. Band, simple sash, twisted in parts. Uttaraya, worn across the back and over both shoulders. The left end is loosely tucked in at the waist. Hara, pearl necklace worn between the breasts. Kandala, simple disc-like earrings. Nupura, heavy double rings on the ankles. Hairstyle, chaplet of leaves. Yakshi, female doorkeeper. Gandhara, Antaraya, worn in lehenga style, simply wrapped around and tucked in at the left. Uttaraya, thrown casually over the shoulders. Tunic, with front opening, held at the neck by button. Long ruched sleeves have ruching held by jeweled bands or buttons. Tunic is form-fitting. Mekhala, 4-string girdle with clasp and decorative leaf at the center. Hara, one long pearl necklace worn between the breasts and one short one with a pendant. Kandala, large ring-type earrings. Headdress, chaplet of leaves or turban with a central flower worn around the top knot of hair. Sitara, round ornament on the forehead. Tunic, calf length and heavy quilted, with braid at the bottom edge. Cha, a coat which is longer than the tunic, worn open at center front. It has a decorative braid at the center front and hem with probably long gathered up sleeves. Belt, of metallic decorative black spoots, padded, with straps around ankle and under the boot held together by a decorative clasp. Either the boots are calf length or baggy trousers. Chalana, have been inserted into short boots. This is the dress of Kushan for foreigner of Sakarpathian origin. He holds 2 swords in decorative scabbards. Cha, calf length with a wide richly embroidered border down the center front opening, hem and edge of long sleeves, probably ruched. The material of the coat has small rosettes and a V-neck and there is a round motif on the right sleeve. Tunic, cut-alike undergarment visible at the neck. Chalana, baggy trousers tucked into calf-length padded boots. There is a wide band of vine pattern at the center from toe to top, not visible in drawing, straps around the ankle and instep. Kantha, short necklace with pendant. Antraya, worn in cactus style. Armor, chain armor made of scale or rhombus patterned plaques, fastened together with strings, like a Japanese or Tibetan armor. The end of the sleeves, waist and hem are strengthened with cording. The skirt portion is made of parallel rows of rectangular plaques. Small eye, turban made of twisted roll of cloth. Equipment, round shield and spear. This is a mixture of foreign and indigenous costume. The armor is Greco-Roman. Antraya, worn in cactus style up to the ankles. Tunic, knee length, a fully quilted garment with thick cording at the waist, neck and hem. Quilted upper garments are still worn in North India in winter. Mixture of foreign and indigenous costume. The Satvahana Empire was an Indian dynasty based from Dharanikota and Amaravati in Andhra Pradesh as well as Jana, Pune, and Pratistham in Maharashtra. The territory of the empire covered much of India from 230 BCE onward. Although there is some controversy about when the dynasty came to an end, the most liberal estimates suggest that it lasted about 450 years, until around 220. The Satavahanas are credited for establishing peace in the country, resisting the onslaught of foreigners after the decline of the Mauryan Empire. The Satavahanas declared independence sometime after the death of Ashoka, 232 BCE, as the Maurya Empire began to weaken. They were not only worshippers of Vishnu and Shiva but also other incarnations of Gauri, Indra, the sun and moon. In the 1st century BC we find tunics, kankyuka in the stripes or beehive design worn by attendants or hunters. The kankyuka are of mid-thigh length with short or long sleeves. In some the opening is on the left side, and in others it is at the front. The tunic worn by a king in hunting dress has no discernible opening at the neck, so it is probably at the back. Necklines too differed in that some were V-shaped and others were round in shape. An elaborate turban Kushan Isa, intertwined with the long black hair of the Aborigine wearers, was also worn. In the royal court dress of the Mauryan Sangha people, the female attendant wore transparent long anteriors with loose kaya buns tied in a knot at the center having beautiful ornamental tips. Their many string girdles or mekhala were made of beads. Shoulder-length hair held by fillets or top knots tied at the center of the head seems to denote that these attendants were foreigners, although nothing in the garments worn seems foreign. The king and most of his courtiers wore indigenous antraya, short and informal at home, with the longer style worn in a variety of ways on ceremonial occasions. With this the decorative kaya band was tied in different styles and knots. Coarse and fine varieties of cotton were in great demand. Silk formed an important part of rich persons' wardrobe. A very cheap material made of hemp was worn by the weavers and by laborers of all kinds. Wool was not needed much in the part of India ruled by Satavahanas, which had a warm climate, but it was used in the form of chadasa blankets in winter. There was a variety of dyes available from Vedic times: indigo, yellow, crimson, magenta, black and turmeric. Varieties and mixtures of colors known to those countries with which the Satavahanas did a great deal of trade, like China, Persia and Rome, must also have been incorporated to extend their range of colored textiles. Printed and woven designs on textile were plentiful, and embroidery in gold was also common among the richer classes. The utraya, in particular, was very often of silk and embroidered with flowers all over, or had a pattern of birds along with flowers. Precious stones were often used in the borders of these utrayas, or they were dyed blue or red, but a spotless white remained the favorite with men. soldiers wore short-sleeved tunics or jackets, with elaborate headgear consisting of either a turban with a top knot, chin band and ear flaps, or two top knots with a turban. They were equipped with axes, and bows and arrows, or carried sickles. Palace guards, however, wore the antrayu with a heavy cloak draped over the left shoulder. The Aboriginal jungle women wore rolls and headbands with peacock feathers attached. Village women and commoners wore their hair in a simple knot at the nape covered by a large utraya, which, at times, had elaborate broad borders. Court attendants and women of the richer classes wore their hair more fashionably, either in a top knot on the right side with a loop of flowers suspended or in a plait. A fillet, simple or gold embroidered, could be worn to hold it in place. Jewelry in this period had a massive primitive character in strong contrast to that worn in the later Satvahana period. When indigenous garments are shown on men, whether at court or in villages, all wear some form of jewelry. But when the foreign dress, the kantuka or tunic, is worn by hunters, attendants and soldiers, very little or no jewelry is seen. Most often it consists of just earrings of the wheel pattern type. Indigenous jewelry, however, consisted of lambanam, earrings, and a pair of kangan and bujuband for the males. Women did not wear the bujuband but wore a large number of bangles made of conch or ivory, this type earrings, the lambanam, and tika on the forehead. Women attendants at court wore, in addition, the mekarla.